So, Sean Tracy, Managing Director of Technical Operations at Cloud Imperial Games, recently joined a discussion to talk about several areas of the technology behind Star Citizen. His responsibilities cover a wide range of technical work across the project, including character technology, engine and editor development, internal tools and pipelines, and even some early experimentation with virtual reality. So, this was an episode of Star Citizen Live, and the first question that came up was actually one that I asked myself, so I was quite happy about that. I asked whether players would actually be able to customize body types, heights, weight, and even scars. This wasn't for me, but it was combined, I suppose, and even import their faces through scanning. The short answer is yes, this is something that the team would like to support. The longer answer was that the current priority is getting the core underlying technology online first. At the moment, the game uses DNA technology for faces, and the team is actively working on expanding the system so that it can support bodies as well. Once that is in place, it should allow body customization, scars, and other physical features using the same flexible framework already used for faces. There are also some fascinating possibilities tied to this technology, such as cybernetic limbs. Some characters in the universe already have cybernetics, including Recco Battaglia, and systems like Starware will help clothing and armor adapt to different body configurations, such as alternate arms or legs. Face scanning is technically possible too, although the expectation would be something that approximates your appearance rather than producing a perfect digital copy. Another common question concerns the differences between male and female characters and why bugs sometimes appear with one but not the other. Sean explained that both character types share the same underlying human rig. However, the geometry itself is different, which means they remain separate assets that need their own testing. Even small differences can introduce issues. Some problems also stem from older legacy content. Earlier in development, the game only had a male character asset, I think we all remember that, so some older interactions like beds and height-related interactions can still produce occasional issues that the team continues to address. Starware was another topic that received quite a bit of attention, and it sounds like the system is making some very strong progress. Several teams are actively working on it. Starware will allow clothing and armor to adapt dynamically to characters and different gear combination. Many players may remember the old bug where undersuits became invisible. Yeah, I do remember that one, which temporarily allowed people to mix and match armor pieces in ways that were never intended. Interestingly, systems like Starware will actually make that kind of flexibility possible in the proper and intentional way. It should also greatly improve how NPC loadouts are handled. Right now, NPC equipment is managed manually created lists of gear to faction or archetypes. With Starware, those systems could become far more dynamic and automated. Sean mentioned that the team hopes players could see this system arrive in about roughly a year, possibly even sooner. Another subject I was particularly interested in was creature technology. This system uses many of the same foundations as character technology. The team is working on methods that allow the creation of creature variants more effectively while still supporting both complex creature and simpler ones. Sean could not share specific release timing or additional details since scheduling is handled by other teams, but he did confirm that new creatures are currently in development. The discussion also touched on destruction technology, specifically with Maelstrom. A question was asked about destructible foliage, such as chopping down trees. That feature is not currently planned, but the team's focus right now is on Maelstrom itself. This system powers destructible ships as well as environmental elements like walls and structures. It is designed as a general framework for destructible objects throughout the game world. In some cases, it could even apply to character armor, such as situations where players need to break specific armor parts during combat in order to bring down an opponent. Implementing destructible trees would require additional work involving planetary technology and physics systems, so while it is technically possible, it raises many design questions and is not part of the current plans. Sean also noted that Chris Roberts is closely involved with the development of Maelstrom and that the system is progressing well internally. VR was another interesting topic. The team has only recently started exploring virtual reality for the game, and the work is still very early. Full VR interactions, such as physically grabbing or throwing objects, are technically possible, but they also introduce gameplay challenges. VR allows players to behave in unusual ways, and those interactions still need to function properly in a shared multiplayer environment. For now, full physics-driven VR remains a long-term exploration, but the developers are clearly interested in eventually delivering a strong VR experience for Star Citizen. I was also very delighted to see the discussion touched on something we briefly saw at the very end of the Star Engine demonstration a couple of years ago, the so-called blood, sweat, and tear technology. The team is actively working on this system for both players and NPCs, and Sean revealed that internal testing has already taken place. In one example, he experimented with melee combat, slashing NPCs and players with a knife, and the result apparently looked extremely realistic, perhaps a little too realistic, so the team is currently working on ways to find the right visual balance. Finally, Starcloth continues to improve as well. This system allows clothing to react far more realistically to movement and environmental forces. One of the newer developments is the ability to combine rigid elements with flexible clothes, such as buttons attached to a shirt. The result is a significant improvement in both the physics and visual quality of clothing. The team plans to show more of Starcloth once the system has been further polished. And sadly, there were no mentions of Actor Status 2.0, so no poop update here, and I was a bit disappointed with that. But overall, I think that it was a very interesting episode. The discussion offered a fascinating look behind the scenes at many of the technologies powering Star Citizen, and from what we learned, it seems that we are going to have a deeper character customization and dynamic quality system, as well as better destruction or actual destruction mechanics, I should say, and well, seems like VR is definitely going to be a thing. It's clear that a great deal of technical work is continuing to push the project forward, so let's just hope that what was discussed in this Star Citizen Live is not going to make too much time to come into fruition. And that is all for this video. If you made it to the end, thank you so much. Please don't forget to subscribe if you are not subscribed yet. I noticed that about half of my viewers are not subscribed. It would really help the channel. Like the video if you did so, and I will see you guys in the next one. Cheers.